we have seen off the top of my head 3 of the best players in the SEC transferred to the Big Ten. Judkins, Downs, Caden Proctor, Alabama to Iowa. And we all hear it out of their mouths, whether they believe it or not, or how much it's drilled into them about the SEC being the superior conference. That's where you go to play to prepare yourself for the NFL. It's almost like playing in the NFL because everybody on the field's an NFL player, and you just hear this rhetoric from the players that seems to get passed down from the coaches, the media, and everyone else. It would be interesting to get their honest take of what they truly believe, whether they just were spitting out the rhetoric and they're just moving on to another competitive conference that they think is just as good, or they want to see it proven to them that the Big Ten is just as good as the SEC.
I think that that's the question to ask them after they play in a couple of league games. I mean, you can't, you're whether or not you're a Big Ten team or an SEC team playing a MAC team in week 1. Generally, we kind of know how that is going to work out if you're in the upper division of your conference. So let them, let's see after a trip to State College or whatever. I'm not even going to sit there and say Oregon. I mean, that's not a Big Ten. We've not seen any legacy programming on Big Ten Network for Oregon or Washington or USC or UCLA at this point. But I think when it comes down to it, football is football to these guys. And yeah, I think there probably is a bit of a point of pride for SEC players just with the amount of success that the conference has had through the years. And taking off a Big Ten team won the national championship this year. I mean, they still grabbed the lion's share of the CFP era and the BCS era and everything else. I think they'll come to a realization that football is football in the Power 2, and just you're going to sit there and draw some bad teams here and there in the Big Ten, and the SEC you can play Vandy and Arkansas and South Carolina as of late.
Tony, how's it going today?
Good. Sorry, I had a Benadryl-induced nap and I slept through my alarm, so I apologize. I am back here, but I'm doing well. I would say those players need to talk to me after they've been to Northwestern in 60 to 80 wind. Mile per hour winds, and then we could talk about the SEC versus the Big Ten or anything like that. But I thought yesterday was a really good opportunity just to get to know some of the guys a little bit better, and talking about the honesty. Nobody said they came to Ohio State for the NIL, so there was that.
Was there anyone? So we, or you, when I say we. Sorry about the extension there. I tag myself onto all you guys. We got to hear from everybody but Julian Sayin, correct?
Yes. That in terms of the transfers and Sayin being a true freshman, we may get him if we get the rest of the true freshmen, the early enrollees at some point in the next couple of weeks, which would be fantastic. We'll see if that happens, though.
So anyone in particular impress you or say anything out of the ordinary that is like, okay, well, that's interesting, or that's a different kind of take?
Well, Caleb Downs did say he's looking forward to beating Michigan, so that was one thing. But I spent the entire 20 minutes of Will Howard's session over there just to get an idea of what the quarterback is going to be like at Ohio State, assuming he wins the job. And he talked about how he prides himself on being tough. And of course, during that same interview, he had to scooch away a spider that was near him. And it was pointed out that, hey, Will, well, you got a spider next to you. And he's like, well, I don't like spiders. So, you got this big, tough, 6'5", 240-pound quarterback. But, then the spider issue popped up. But just getting an idea of him, how comfortable he was with the media. Because I think other than Downs, and maybe McLaughlin to a certain extent, these guys have never really seen anything like this in terms of a media scrum. And so just to see how they operated there. And, I thought Will Howard talked about, and I wrote about it today. You can find it at BuckeyeHuddle.com, just about how the decision basically came down for him to the NFL and Ohio State. And the NFL told him, you're about a third to sixth rounder, and we would like to see more. And so that's one of the reasons he came to Ohio State. But I think he said the biggest reason was to win a national championship. So I think, he's looking forward to being able to throw the ball around. I think I'm looking forward to seeing how good he can be, because like I said in the past, I still think there's a question about how consistent and accurate he can be downfield. And I don't think we'd have to wait too long to find out if he can be that guy this year.
Just so Will Howard's not afraid of boa constrictors, I guess, would be the most important thing.
I
think. Good, Steve.
No, go ahead and finish what you were saying, Tony.
No. I'm good. I'm done.
I was just going to say, I sent the video of McLaughlin and Caleb Downs to our Alabama site, and our 24/7 site. We have some newer people there because the site we had went to On3, and now we're like breaking in new publishers at Alabama. They're people who've covered the team for a long time, just not with us. And they said, "Oh, you guys get to talk to players. You get to talk to the transfers." They said the first time that they've ever talked to any of the transfers was during the mandated full team media scrum at the Rose Bowl before the national semifinal game. So that'll give you an idea, I guess, how the other half lives. But Kevin and I know from our friend Roddy down at Georgia how oppressive their media policies are. But Ohio State, to their credit, is trying to give its adoring media masses something to chew on in this very long and dismal and bleak off season. So that's a good thing.
And Saban doesn't let him talk to the assistants either during the season. Is that correct?
I think that may be true as well. Yeah. Of course, he's gone now, so who knows how Caleb DeBoer, how he's gonna 5 years out, how that's gonna go. But
well, it sounds like he's going to check with Nick Saban as to whether he's allowed to do that, because he says he's going to touch base with him every day, and Nick's going to have the mighty tower above the stadium and the office view that's going to oversee everything. And
Emirata.
The eye of Sauron, the eye of Saban, watching over.
I picked up on Ryan Day was on ESPN Radio about 4 or 5 days ago, and really the only thing, I don't know if any of you picked up on that. Kevin said he didn't come across that. I just read some of the quotes, but the only thing of note to me, because everything else was pretty standard, Bill O'Brien's got all this experience. He's great. The quarterback room's going to be fun to watch, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty standard fare was when asked about the transition from Jim Harbaugh to Sharon Moore. He said absolutely nothing about Michigan. He said Nick Saban retired, and there's going to be a lot of changes across college football. I tell my team to stay focused and just think about our team, and there are always going to be a ton of changes across college football. So we just have to be used to that.